It's time for the Teed Off Podcast.
Okay, it is episode 13 of the Teed Off Podcast. I'm Ben Clyburn, and Aaron Thomas is out sick today, but my co-host is our special guest, Dale.Ketola. He's the Director of Instruction and Club Fitting at the Grande Dunes Performance Center at the Grande Dunes Golf Course. Dale, thanks for sitting in, man.
You got it. Glad to be here.
Yeah, man, it's good to be fun. I'm going to go over the agenda of the show today. The front nine, the world of golf, we have a lot to unpack. The golf ball rollback. What does it mean for the sport of golf as a whole for both pros and amateurs? More LIV and PGA news. It just stays in the news. So Jon Rahm has crossed, and we'll discuss that, see if anybody else is going, and talk about some money the PGA's gotten that is not from the PIF. So we'll talk about that. Tiger Woods is back on television playing golf, which is great for the game. And we'll just talk about his performances recently, talk about the collapse, which is not a figure of speech, of his TGL league. It's been delayed. And thoughts about his possible split with Nike Golf. Then we'll make the turn. It'll all be about Dale.Ketola, how he got into the game and into the Myrtle Beach golf industry. We'll talk the Grande Dunes golf course. We'll also talk about the Performance Center, a signature hole, talk about the package of the episode, and then we will hit the back nine. I've got a great rounds in review for 2023, talk about the future with 2024, which is looking great, the accommodation of the episode, and then last but not least, what tees us off. Dale, you ready to jump in?
I'm ready to roll when you are.
All right, let's do it.
The front nine.
Okay, the front nine. So the golf ball rollback. And if anybody listening or watching has been under a rock the last few weeks, let me just kind of give the cliff notes. So basically the powers that be in golf have been talking about this for years, wanting to limit how far the golf ball travels. They believe that with improvements to distance over the years, that the ball is going too far, and it could make some golf courses obsolete from a distance standpoint, and that they're running out of room, and tricking up the golf course on the greens or somewhere else might slow pace of play. So they've pulled the trigger on this, and in 2028, pros will be playing a limited golf ball, and in 2030, amateurs are supposedly playing a limited golf ball. So there's been a ton of reaction from both pros, amateurs, golf equipment manufacturers. I want to hear from you, Dale, as a teaching professional and somebody who has been involved in golf, and you do club fittings, and you are very well versed in everything golf. What do you think of the golf ball rollback?
Man, quite a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know where to start. I was talking to a friend of mine who's a good player. He's a one handicap. We've been playing golf forever, and we were talking about this golf ball rollback and kicking it around. And I can't think of a positive. Like I keep going back to this. I'm like, okay, let me give him the benefit of the doubt. Like, and I just can't come up with one. Like we'll talk about the masses first. Okay. So most people that play golf, they want to hit the ball farther.
Yeah.
Okay? They'll buy a new driver. They'll work out. They'll do whatever they need to do to try to hit this golf ball further. And just the idea that they have a chance to hit the golf ball further is enticing to them. When you buy a new box of golf balls and it says it's going to go straighter and further and more distance, and sign me up. That's what they want. So particularly the older generation, when they're in their 60s and 70s, and you're going to tell them that, hey guys, you're struggling to hit your driver 200 yards, and in 2030 you got to go buy new golf balls that go less, and then the USGA wants to make the drivers less forgiving at the same time. So go buy one of those and then go have fun.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either. And I remember this was the can was kind of getting kicked around years ago, and they were talking about it just for the elite professional PGA Tour professional player. I said, so you're gonna bifurcate the game. So now, what I'm watching on television is going to be a capped game. I mean, people aren't going to be all they can be. You're punishing 0.001% of the golf community. That's really a big reason why so many amateurs play golf. You're making the game worse. That doesn't make any sense to me. So a couple courses they can't play anymore because it's too short. I mean, how many courses could be on that list?
I haven't played one.
Yeah. So I just it just doesn't make sense to me. That would be like the NBA coming out and telling LeBron James he's got to wear ankle weights.
Yeah.
I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me. So it sounds to me like they're like, okay, well, then we're just going to do it for everybody. And does that mean, and this is a question for you, so 2028, the pros are going to be playing a different ball, which means and we got a 2-year delay until amateurs will be playing that ball. Does that mean in 2030 that Titleist is not going to be allowed to sell the old ball?
That's what it sounds like.
So, I mean, are we going to have black market dealers with the old ball in the parking lots?
That's what it sounds like. That's what I'll be playing with.
Yeah. So you just answered my next question. So what are you going to do?
So right now, just off the cuff, and we were talking about this the other day with my buddy Jay, we don't have to do anything that they say. You as a golfer don't have to do anything that the USGA says. If you want to go out to your local golf course and play the current ball and your current set of clubs and go have fun with your friends, you could certainly do that. Now, you can't play in one of their competitions, but you could play golf and have fun and put music on and go have fun with your friends and hit the ball as far as you want.
Yeah.
So there's a choice there, for some people. Just because this organization says that, we're going to do this, that doesn't mean that everybody has to follow them.
Even on a smaller scale than that. I mean, what if the R&A, the USGA adopt it and the PGA doesn't? And now you've got different balls, different tournaments.
Yeah, the whole thing, it's a mess.
It's a mess.
It's
I don't understand it. And they came out with a graph that was like most players, because most players are amateurs, it's going to affect them 3 to 5 yards at the most. So I'm like, so then it goes back to punishing the elite player, which is such a minority of the golfers in the golf world. So I just don't see how, I mean, it's like this rule was written by golf course architects or something.
Yeah.
It's just wild to me. Wild.
So my question is what's wrong with, well, for one, hitting the golf ball long and straight is a skill. That's a skill that you need to play professional golf. So those guys have figured out how to get in the gym, how to get the right clubs, how to hit it in the sweet spot, get on TrackMan, figure out how to hit it, 300 yards. So, okay, good, great job. But what's wrong with the pros making a birdie?
Yeah.
So we were talking about this the other day. So if you're at a golf tournament, okay, and you're watching a threesome play and one of the guys makes a bogey, what's your reaction?
Oh, man.
You don't really have one. It's like, oh, okay, man.
I do that all the time.
Yeah, okay. What happens when they make a 20-foot birdie putt?
Fist pump.
They go wild.
Yeah.
Right? The crowd goes wild. Isn't that what you want?
Yeah.
I'm just asking, we're putting this on TV, right?
Yeah, it goes back, I'll go to another sport. You see basketball and football are changing the rules so that offense can score. Chicks dig the long ball in golf. But golf is hard, right?
Yeah.
Bryson DeChambeau got absolutely railed in the media for saying that Augusta was a par 67, that he was going to overpower the course. He didn't even make the cut that year.
Right.
So like you said, it's a skill. If you can drive it 350, 360, 370 down the middle, have at it, Hoss.
How about it?
If you can sustain that, go for it.
And, like guys have been hitting golf balls over 400 yards for a long time, but you don't see any of those guys on the PGA Tour because they don't know how to play golf.
And it's not sustainable.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like you still have to be able to play golf.
Yeah. Kyle Berkshire's not.
He's not on tour.
Not a major champion.
He's
not on tour.
No.
He's not going to be.
Not going to be.
Yeah.
No. Nope.
So, and if you look at the long drive competitions, they're more than half their balls are out missing the football field width.
Yeah.
So it's all about distance, not even accuracy.
But it's fun to watch them try.
Oh man, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I think something, and to kind of put some gravity to the situation. These golf course equipment manufacturers innovate. I mean, think about, they put a cap on what you can do with equipment, and it really has not flatlined improvements to performance. I mean, they've changed. From drivers, they've gone from wood to metal to titanium to a lot of carbon fiber, and you're seeing the distance gains there. We got 4 years. They're going to innovate this ball, and I don't think we're going to see the 10 to 15 yard clip that I'm hoping not, that they're expecting the pros to feel, because these guys are smart. They're going to get in the lab and they're going to say, okay, we're going to go after this thing, and hopefully it won't be as effective as we think it's going to be on the game. I think it's just going to be a cap like they're doing with drivers. You can't go bigger than a 460cc. I'm hoping that's what we land with, where guys are hitting it about the same. That's what I hope.
Doesn't sound like that's going to happen, though.
You don't think it's going to happen?
Well, if you read the report that the USGA sent out, it's like 4 pages, the letter. They're not just going after the golf ball. They're going after the clubs. So the companies know that golf ball could come out soon. So they're going to pivot and try to make some technology in the drivers. And it sounds like the USGA is going to stop that too. And the way that they test the balls, or test the CT, which is how fast the ball comes off the club face, they're changing that. So they're already saying that.
My God.
They're already saying that the companies are purposely making drivers that pass the CT test, and then you go play with them for 2 weeks, and now they're hotter than they're supposed to be.
Okay.
That's what the USGA is claiming.
Well, I think right there's an example of passing and being creative. Hopefully they can do that with the ball. I don't know. I just, it's a wait and see kind of thing. We've also got years for people to change their mind. I mean, we could have some. They might have done this with so much runway to say, let's see what happens in the public eye and see what we've got time to change our mind here. But the USGA, I mean, they could turn into the damn NCAA. Say, we don't need you anymore. That's fine. Golf's already in a shakeup anyway. We're gonna play these balls, and we're going to maximize what man and machine can do. On these courses, and we're not going to need 10,000 yard courses. We're not.
No.
So unless you have a robot playing golf,
that'd be cool too.
Well, we'll see. But still, I think there's still a lot of questions to be answered, and maybe that's why they did it this far out. So we'll see. It's been a good discussion on the ball, and we're going to have more discussions on the ball as news hits. So I think they just kind of dropped the bomb, and they're just seeing what happens when the dust settles. Good news is we got 4 years.
You think about 2030 in my job. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the new driver that doesn't go as far. It's not as forgiving. Here's the new balls we're going to be testing with. Let's compare it to your current driver. Let's see how many we sell.
Yeah, that's right.
How's that going to look for sales?
That's so true. Here's your Nerf.
Here's your Nerf driver.
Yep.
Do you want to buy one? They're $900 now.
Yeah. By the way, they don't even make the other ones anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't see how that's going to work.
Yeah.
I don't.
I don't either. I was on. I had a teed off that went semi-viral. I was talking about new equipment and how they rebranded something and said it's the best ever. Every year you can't have the best ever, but now you're literally going backwards. So how do you market it? I mean, you can't market it like that.
You can't.
It's the best of the rest. It's just I don't know. I've never seen a sport go backwards before, so I'm hoping it changes.
Golf's pretty good right now. You don't want those guys to go fishing instead.
I know. Look at the explosion of golf.
They'll quit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they're, fishing. They're like, all right, well, we got to make the reels harder to reel in. Can't have too much fun.
No.
So we'll talk about that more as news comes out. Big news last week in the golf world. Jon Rahm went over to LIV. I want to get your initial reaction on that. I also want to kind of talk about he's got to fill out a team here. And there are some open spots that I think are going to be filled by that LIV event they had in Florida. But they want some stars. One, what was your reaction to Jon Rahm defecting? And do you think anyone else is coming with him?
I wish it was a surprise. Once the first guy went, like everybody that got in line that signed up, like you can't half blame them.
Yeah.
And they can say whatever they want to say on what their view is and all that, but until somebody sticks $300 million in your face, like you don't know what you're going to do.
Yeah. And Rahm's is, between 450 and 600. And you look at a guy there who's got exemptions into all four majors for years.
Yeah.
So he's like, well, if the merger's going to happen, if it's inevitable, it's going to happen anyway. It's not a guarantee that I'm going to get paid like Dustin and Brooks and Phil have gotten paid. So why not get paid now? And I'm going to be back with my band of brothers on the PGA Tour soon enough anyway. And I'm not going to miss a beat in the majors.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
It's I wasn't really shocked either after I thought about it like that. Rahm was one of the bigger names to go. Guy that was at the top of his game and really kind of not a poster child for the PGA Tour, but he was way up there. He was way up there. So that definitely hurt. Put some chinks in the armor of the PGA Tour. But the PGA Tour just got about $3 billion of cash infusion from the Fenway Sports Group, which I think is newsworthy. I'm not sure how, though. One, it's not PIF money, so that's good because I believe the merger that dropped earlier this year, the news of the merger was because the PGA was looking at the end of the barrel there, and PIF had all this money and pretty much just said, you can't outrun us. You're going to have to join us eventually. And so they surrendered. But now I don't know if this money from the Fenway Sports Group, who I also believe has some Saudi ties. That's what it sounds like. I'm not 100% sure, but I know it's not purely red-blooded American money. But does that delay? I mean, what do you think? Does that delay this LIV PGA merger? Because I haven't heard any more details about a merger. Jon Rahm's gone over to the other side. They've got the new schedule out. They're trying to build the teams. Looks like two separate entities to me for the indefinite future.
Right. It sounds like the PGA Tour wants to get the money for their players by merging or whatever you want to call it without publicly saying, hey, we're with the Saudis.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we got all the money for you guys. Are we involved with them? We don't really know.
Yeah. Sort of.
Purses are bigger. Really. Yeah, sort of, not really. And you guys don't really need to know.
Yeah. Well, you guys don't really need to know is really becoming impactful. The players that have been loyal, I think Victor Hovland came out last week and was like, I'm not going to LIV, but I think that the PGA Tour has been woefully mismanaged behind closed doors of businessmen when without the players, they're nothing. And we're not involved. And I think Rory stepping down from the, his position on the players board's pretty big too, especially one that he was kind of the sacrificial lamb. I mean, they put him up there to fight LIV to the fullest. And then, the next day they have a big merger. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know how Jay Monahan has his job, puppet or not.
Yeah, the whole thing's interesting, isn't it?
It's just crazy. So, yes, the PGA Tour is getting money. It's not PIF money, but it's PIF-like money. And I guess it'll make the players happier because there'll be a lot more money, for these events. And a lot of the talent is now on LIV. So maybe they got a better shot at making some moolah on the tour. But I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. Definitely going to be 2 separate tours again this year. So Greg Norman lives to fight another day. Somebody who is not going to live, even though he was offered about $1 billion, Tiger Woods. He is still not moving the needle. He is the needle when he plays, and he's shown back up in the news recently. He played in the Hero World Challenge, was rusty, but had some good moments. Short, small field, but in a course that he knows like the back of his hand. And you could tell he was rusty, but he didn't look injured. So I thought that was cool. He looked humongous in his upper body. And then he played this weekend in a very wet and windy father-son with Charlie, and his daughter, Sam, was on the bag. So that was cool. And he hit some good shots there. Charlie hit some really good shots. He said in a press conference during the Hero that he wants to try to play a tournament a month, which if you look at it, that's, the majors and the big PGA Tour events. What are your prospects for Tiger in 2024? Do you think he's going to compete anywhere?
It's a tough one. Like 20 years ago, I would always say, like, don't bet against Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
And I think that's still the case. Like, you don't want to bet against Tiger Woods, but you wouldn't want to bet for him either, because you don't know what he's going to do. You don't know if he's going to show up. You don't know if he's going to play one round and break his knee again.
Yeah.
So he did look huge.
Yeah.
He did. His swing looked really good to me. I mean, he's putting ball speed up 175, 180, which is right there where he needs to be to compete. Putting stroke, chipping looked good. Irons look really good. Man, he's had so many injuries.
I know.
It's like, I don't know why I'm not him, so I don't know why it's so hard to walk 4 rounds of golf. Like he keeps talking about the recovery. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of pain he's in, but it's exciting to watch. I mean, I'd love for him to play a tournament a month and like do well.
Yeah.
Everybody counted him out in, what was that, 19 when he won the Masters?
Yeah. Yeah. That was awesome. And then, coming back from the car crash, and he really, thinking he was going to amputate his leg. Yeah. And then next tournament, which was 14 months later, he shoots 2 under on the first day at Augusta.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. I think he is. I think he's not a guy for pomp and circumstance. So I think when he shows up, I still think he's got the willpower to think, man, I can compete. But I just don't know how far that tank goes. I really don't. I mean, I think his last surgery was because of walking, that he could walk, but he had to walk differently, which caused plantar fasciitis that was almost chronic. So he had to get surgery to relieve that based on how he walks. But I don't know. I mean, he's always going to walk with that limp, I guess, for the rest of his life. But he looked good both at the father-son, which I kind of wanted to see because I saw the weather coming in.
Yeah.
You remember last year at Augusta, he was like,
yeah.
I mean, I was thinking maybe Joey LaCava was going to have to carry him the rest of the way. But he stuck it out.
Yeah, he did fine.
Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, I think he's like 8,000 to 1 or something at Augusta, something like that. Yeah, so might be worth putting a couple shillings down. But we'll see. I think he's great for the game still, and the PGA Tour really needs him to play a tournament a month, especially now. So, and selfishly, I want to see him play a tournament a month. He's the reason I started playing. I feel a little bad about his TGL league, but the dome collapsed and all that technology went with it. to delay the whole thing a year kind of shows the fragility of that thing to me. And I think, I mean, what are your thoughts on the TGL? Were you excited for it, for something new like that? Or did you think it was going to be a little gimmicky?
So to be honest, I didn't really know what it was. So I knew I was coming here to talk about it. So I did a little bit of research and kind of looked at it. And it looks like there's just a huge dome and there's like simulator golf basically with like some real shots and short game with like a crowd or something in there.
Yep.
And the player list looked pretty good. There was like 24 guys that were like all legit.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Like, I'd rather watch them play real golf, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
This seems like man, do we really not have anything else better to do than like watch these guys play simulator golf in a dome like on a Tuesday?
That was Aaron's thoughts on it. He's like, man, I'm a junkie. I'll watch them play for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours of real golf.
Yeah,
on the television. But
me too. I
don't know. For an hour, 90-minute window, which is what you're going to have to do on primetime TV, because the attention span of the general public who you're trying to pull in, they've already got the golf fans, right? So pull in some people that aren't quite golf fans. That's what this is to me. I'm not sure it'll be interesting enough, but it was an interesting concept. Yeah. And I'm saying was as if it's dead. I hope it's not. But yeah, they were going to play simulator golf and then literally turn around when they were like 60, 70 yards in. And they were going to have a short game area and a huge green that had actuators that would change undulation and lies and stuff like that. That was pretty cool.
Really cool, but it's not, it's a substitute for real golf.
Right.
So it's not real golf.
Right.
So for that reason, I'd probably watch it.
Yeah.
If nothing else was on, but I'd rather watch real golf.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, we got a whole year to see if they improve the fragility of the thing and maybe make some advancements on the concept. They have teams in regions, but they're all playing in Florida. So that didn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
I mean, but you know, something as technologically advanced as that, you can't just erect that in California and then move it to Chicago and then move it to New York. So I see why it's in one place, but to make it a league with, you know, matches and stuff and fly all these guys in. I mean, that's why Jon Rahm was 2 reasons probably why Jon Rahm couldn't do it. 1, he said because of his schedule, because he lived in Arizona, but 2, probably because he was negotiating with LIV anyway. Yeah. But we'll see. I hate that it collapsed and they got to delay it a year. Because I think with everything going on in golf and golf being the topic of discussion in the sports world, I think it would have been a good opportunity to start something like this because eyes were going to be on it. But we'll see in a year. I hope it still happens. I would like to see it. Last thing about Tiger, and you know you're an equipment guy. This is more apparel related, but Tiger had a pretty frosty response this weekend. There's a lot of rumors going around that he and Nike were going to split. And, you know, Nike's been out of the equipment game for a while now, but, you know, still pretty strong in the apparel game, although they apparently can't make shoes because Tigers hadn't worn their shoes in 10 years almost now. I mean,
I don't think it's that long.
No?
Yeah.
Maybe. Well, he's been in FootJoys for a long time. I don't understand that. But they said, is this the last time we'll see you in Nike? He's like, I'm still wearing their product. And they asked the question again, a different way. He's like, I'm still wearing their product. So, you know, that I don't know what that means, but what do you think of what do you think's happening there with Nike?
Well, they tried the golf clubs for a while, and that was, at the end of the day, that was a fail. And then they stopped making golf clubs, and they're still making golf apparel. You know, shoes and pants and shirts, and got the swoosh and the hat. And it sounds like, just by reading, that that part of it might go away. So if they don't make clothing anymore, then
they can't make it for him.
Yeah, there is no golf shirt with the swoosh on it anymore. So
isn't that crazy though? With how popular golf is becoming, and it's really becoming more accessible. I mean, you look at like DJ Khaled, he has been huge for golf, and for new entrants to golf, and he wears nothing but Nike.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan's favorite sport is golf. He likes golf better than basketball. He has his whole life. He said that. So, I mean, and he's got the Jordan brand, which is tied to Nike, and they come out with special golf apparel and stuff like that. So to me, I get the equipment thing because I know that was a failure, but it's just like, how can you no longer make clothing? But that's got to be what it is, because why would you split up with Tiger?
You wouldn't, I don't think.
No.
I think it's more they're having a hard time in the marketplace.
Yeah.
And it could be Nike's always been more of a younger brand. And with golfers being, I mean, how many 65-year-old guys do you see wearing Nike shirts playing golf?
That's a good point.
I don't see that many.
Yeah.
I don't see any, actually.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Nike's trying to be hip and young, and that's not necessarily golf, although there's a lot more younger people getting involved, which is why I'm surprised they would be kind of bowing out of the golf business. But, they own Tiger Woods' name. They've done that. They did that with everybody. They did it with Roger Federer in tennis. He had to fight him for years to get his. That, yeah. So Roger left at the end of his career. Nike and Roger split, and he went to Uniqlo, and he couldn't get his name, and he finally got his name like the last year. So I mean, here's Tiger at the end of his career. Maybe they're kind of, he wanted to sign another deal, a lifetime deal or something. They're like, there's not enough money in it, and he wants out. But they're like, well, good luck, but we own your name. That's why his restaurant's called the Woods and not Tiger Woods.
Oh, really?
Yep, because they own his name.
Wow, didn't know that.
Yep.
Okay.
So he won't take that logo with him. Unless they shut down, then I guess they'll work something out. But we'll see. There's rumors that an equipment manufacturer is going to get in the apparel space that he's going to sign on with. There's also rumors because Charlie just signed with Grayson Apparel.
Did he really?
Yeah. And I love Grayson, but I just don't see them pulling Tiger into their boat.
Yeah.
But I can't. I mean, what other equipment? Is he going to wear Bridgestone clothes? I don't know. They make tires and balls.
Yeah, I don't think they make
some clubs.
Yeah.
So, but we'll see. It's interesting. But when I think Nike Golf, I think Tiger Woods. And when I think Tiger Woods, I think Nike Golf.
That's right.
So that's going to be strange. Maybe he'll make his own apparel.
How good is Nike Golf going to be if Tiger doesn't play golf anymore? That being said,
I don't know, because Rory's not, he's a consolation.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, that completes the front nine. It was a great front nine. Dale, let's make the turn and talk a little bit more about you and Grande Dunes.
Sounds good.
Make your next Myrtle Beach golf getaway the most rewarding yet. The Founders Rewards Package at mbgolf.com features award-winning golf from your choice of 21 Founders Collection courses, plus a $100 gift card for each golfer. Spend your rewards on food and beverage, merchandise, and more at any course you play on with this one-of-a-kind deal. Find out more about the rewards package at mbgolf.com. A Condo World company.
All right, let's make the turn. And I've got Dale.Ketola, the Director of Instruction and Club Fitting at the Grande Dunes Performance Center at the very popular Grande Dunes golf course. Dale, tell me how you got into the game of golf and eventually became a teaching professional in Myrtle Beach.
How much time do we have?
In 3 words or less.
Oh, God. Okay.
No, we got all the time in the world, man. Let me know.
So when I was maybe, 7 or 8 years old, I had a 7-iron. Me and my brother both had a 7-iron, and we weren't members of the club or anything. So we played out in the backyard. Found a couple golf balls, some wiffle balls, made us a few greens out of clay, put some cans in the ground.
Oh, cool, man.
We had like 3 or 4 little holes, and depending on where you started, you go around the house and over the house and dogleg right, dogleg left, under the trees. So we learned to play out there. And then when we were like 11, there was a golf course near Greenwood called Starfort. And for the whole summer, one kid could play for like $75, all you could play. And the second kid was $25. So for $100,
Play all summer.
Pretty nice babysitting gig there, so my mom would drop us off. We'd literally play like 45 holes of golf, go to the pool, just play golf all day. So got pretty good after a while,
Self-taught?
Self-taught.
Wow.
No lessons. Started playing junior tournaments, did pretty well. High school, we won the
what high school did you go to?
Emerald High School.
Yeah. Okay.
We won the state championship my last year. Ended up getting a golf scholarship to go to Coastal Carolina, which was cool.
What years were that?
That started Coastal in 98. Went there for 5 years, redshirted my first year, played with some like really, really, really good players there. We had a couple Spanish guys. We had a guy, Pat Stolpe, to this day, I think he's the best golfer I've ever seen. Really cool experience. Up until then, never had a golf lesson, just figured it out, dug it out of the dirt and did pretty well with it. And, but I was always interested in like instruction. I always had the Golf Digest and I'm looking through it and trying to watch TV and figure out, I always want to know how they did it.
Yeah.
I'm like, how does he do that? Why is he aiming over there? Like, why does this club look this way? So I was always very curious about that. And then I got a job at Baytree up here in Highway 9 when I was in college. And, typical stuff. You work in the carts and pro shop and all that, and started doing a few golf schools out there. And the golf course ended up closing. Went to Pauly's Plantation, worked in the shop a bit, started teaching a lot more. That was the last time I worked in the pro shop. I figured out that wasn't for me. I like being outside and helping people. And then had several jobs between there and getting to Grande Dunes. Been to Grande Dunes about 7 years now.
I met you out at Farmstead.
Yep. I was teaching out there as an independent contractor for like 4 years. I worked for Greg Norman's Academy for like 4 years almost. So a couple stops in between, but I love it, man. It's great. It's nobody really complains to me at my job.
Cool.
Like people come in, I help them. They're grateful. We have a good time. They go home. Yeah. Like the worst part of the job is like just wearing thermal underwear to work, today. That's about it.
You can still play golf in Myrtle Beach today, but it's a little chilly.
Barely.
Barely. Which fortunately about 10 months out of the year, it's great golf weather. But 2 months, you got to go with the thermal underwear, as you said. You, if you were at Coastal for 5 years, that puts you at about like 03. Was Dustin there?
I graduated in the summer of 03. He started in the fall of 03.
Okay. And so you have any run-ins with him? Not run-ins.
Yeah, we had a couple run-ins.
Okay.
Yeah. So I lived with a couple guys on the team for about a year following college just because I didn't want to leave. I was like, man, this is really cool. I'll just live with these guys while I get a real job, And I remember Dustin came, and I didn't know Dustin from a hole in the ground. And he was a freshman, and the two guys I was living with were, juniors maybe. And they're like, hey, we want to take Dustin out and play golf with him. Do you want to come? I was like, yeah, sure, we'll go. So we take him out to Baytree and play the silver course.
This is Dustin Johnson, by the way, guys.
Dustin Johnson, okay?
Yeah.
And this is the only round of golf I ever played with Dustin. Okay?
At Baytree,
silver course. So I shoot 69. He shoots 70. The other two guys shoot 70. Okay, Dustin drove his own car that day. I drove with my roommates. And I remember leaving the golf course, vividly thinking, man, that guy's not that good. Was I wrong?
Yeah.
But that was
such an athletic guy.
So raw.
Yeah.
And then
because he was from Columbia.
Yeah. And about a month after that, we organized this flag football game over at Coastal, like on a Saturday with like soccer players and football, like everybody was out there. And Dustin was playing. He was on my team. I was quarterback. He was like wide receiver, man amongst boys.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a joke.
Such an athlete.
Joke how athletic he was.
Yeah.
So then you started to see okay, this guy can do whatever he wants, basically.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
That is cool. Cool Dustin story. Well, thank you for telling me that. I put you on the spot there.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about where you are now, the Grande Dunes Golf Performance Center. Give us a little rundown of your offerings and what you do there.
Yeah, so I've tried to make it where I'm pretty good at every aspect. So if somebody needs help in a department, I feel like I can help them, whether that's the clubs, whether that's the technique, putting, short game, mental game, course management, statistics, strokes gained, like whatever they need, I feel like I can help them. And maybe I shouldn't, maybe I should, in my older years, maybe go to one area, but I like all the areas.
Well, so many people have so many problems. So I think I think you've got, and I'm going to attest to your instruction because, to be biased, you've given me lessons now, not consistently because I've walked away and come back, but since 2012.
Yeah.
And you've really definitely recently improved my game, and we've touched a lot of different aspects of the game. So I think you're doing the right thing. I think you need to have a menu of offerings because I think every lesson, how many lessons do you do a day? I mean, average.
Just depends.
Yeah. But every player's got, it's the swing your swing thing, right? You got different age, different gender, different strength, different issues that you're having to combat and help them with.
Everybody is completely different. So I've kind of delved into the TPI thing the last few years, and that's just a physical assessment to kind of see what the body does, what doesn't it do, how does this guy move, where is he limited, where's his injuries, and then once you figure out what he can and can't do, you almost know how he's going to swing at that point. Yeah. So you can go out there, and then it's like, okay, well, we know your right hip doesn't work, so we're going to have to find a different way to do what we want to do to make the golf ball do something better, right?
Yeah.
So it's just kind of what angle you want to attack it. So that's the fun part for me, is like trying to figure out like, all right, here's what this guy does. Here's what he can do. Here's what he can't do. Here's how athletic he is. Okay, cool. Where do we go?
Yeah.
What's the next move?
Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of the fun part for me, and it's like, it gets more fun the more they want to dive into it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
so they're like, hey, what's this mental stuff? Or like, what is this? Like, oh, glad you asked. Let's go.
Yeah. I love diving into it too. I mean, so I a lesson with you is we hit a few balls, you film me, and then we break down what the errors of my ways that day. And then we work on fixing it. You film me after, and most of the time I fixed it, or at least on the way to a fix. So I enjoy that because, seeing is believing. If I'm having an issue on the golf course, my buddy can film me, but he's not an instructor.
He might think he is.
Yeah, he might think he is, but I'm sitting over there like, I feel great, but the results aren't there. So I think, it's great to have instruction, in that way. Now you also do club fittings, so you just fit me for some new irons. So, and you brought them today. So that is Merry Christmas to me.
Yeah.
But you fit, what brands do you fit?
So we've got a wide variety. So Callaway, TaylorMade, Ping, Mizuno. We have those right there on site. And then we also do some fitting events with Titleist, PXG, Cobra. So
you got it covered. Yeah, you got it covered. And you recently got some exciting updates in the performance studio.
So always had pretty good technology in there. I've had a couple flight scopes in there. I use V1 for the video stuff. I got a high-speed camera, like all the toys that you need. The flight scope was getting a little bit old and tired. The software isn't as good as some of the other offerings. So I've had the flight scope for a while. So ended up getting a TrackMan last week. So we're going to update that. Really cool. You can take it anywhere, take it on the course, putting green, chipping green. It's really super versatile. That's what you see on TV when those guys are out there. You look at the driving range and they all got their TrackMan behind them. So pretty neat. It
is the benchmark. I saw a video, just sidebar, I saw a video where you can Bluetooth into a TrackMan. And if you're on like the range before a PGA tournament and see like what Dustin's doing and what people are doing with their TrackMans.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know you can, they'll simulcast it on TV sometimes, like on the range, on Golf Channel. But
So if you're in the stands, you can get their numbers while you're sitting there. That's cool.
Yeah. So that's pretty neat. I don't know if that's allowed or not, but people are doing it. But the Grande Dunes Golf Performance Center's got it all. So instruction for any part of your game, including mental and physical fitness improvement to make you a better golfer, and fitting for any brand. What's the best way to reach you for the Grande Dunes Golf Performance Center?
So we have a website, grandedunesgolfperformance.com.
Okay.
They can email me, Dale.Ketola @foundersgolf.com, or they can give me a call or send me a text, 843-833-3332. A lot of threes.
Cool. I'll put all that information in the link to this episode. So if anybody's scribbling fast, don't worry about it. I'll put it in the description of this episode. So you're at the Grande Dunes. It opened in 2001. It has been a premium course that has gotten so many accolades locally and nationally since 2001. It's a link style design course by the Roger Rulewich group, which he's kind of a boutique guy. He's recently done some touches on Saratoga Country Club and Bellerive. So that's pretty cool. It's just a gorgeous course, Dale. It's built on a bluff. You have so many great views of the Intercoastal Waterway. It's really unlike, it's hard to say you're at the beach when you're playing that course. I don't know if you'd agree with me.
Yeah, it's just it's very unique.
Yeah, it's
in a good
always
way.
in great condition. And it's just a great place to play. The Terraza 19 clubhouse restaurant, you can have great breakfast, lunch, or dinner there. So pre or post play, locker room facilities in there. It's just such a great course. You guys recently went through a big reno in 2022, greens, bunkers, and the clubhouse. You got Champion Bermuda, where you can roll the rock. So it's just a premium course. Doesn't even begin to describe it. Is there a signature hole that comes to mind at the Grande Dunes?
14.
Can you run me through 14 at Grande Dunes?
So you're going to come off 13, which is a par 5. You're going to take a left. You're going to head out towards the Intercoastal Waterway. And if you're playing the tips, the tee box is literally right beside the Intercoastal Waterway. And from all the way back, it's probably 240. You're going to hit over like a ravine where some of the water from the waterway comes in, and the green's pitched like front left to back right, which makes it hard to hit. Downhill, wind's always pumping one way or another. Beautiful hole, though. You can like watch the boats go by as you're hitting, and we got several sets of tees, so you don't have to hit from 240. But it's
well, you don't get that view everywhere.
You don't.
And, so that's one of the top holes on one of the top courses in Myrtle Beach. So remember number 14 when you get there. You'll know it. Is that one of the harder holes on the course?
I think so.
Yeah.
Just because of the length.
Yeah.
The par 3s are pretty tough out there.
240 from the back, in which, even playing up on the men's tees, that's still a long way away, in the high hundreds.
If I was playing a 3-day tournament there and you give me 9, I wouldn't even play. Just let me go to the next hole.
Yeah.
You give me a 3, let's go.
Wow.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Well, Dale, thanks for giving us the rundown on the Grande Dunes Performance Center, the Grande Dunes Resort Course, and the signature hole number 14. A great package to remember that has the Grande Dunes in it when you're booking your golf package on mbgolf.com is the Founders Inclusive Package. Now, that includes lunch, 2 beverages, and range balls at each Founders course that you choose. But the cool thing is no minimum rounds are required. So if you're just in town to play the Grande Dunes, you can get that deal. But many people take that deal on a whole variety of Founders courses. There's plenty to choose from in Myrtle Beach, both on the north, central, and south end. So when you're on mbgolf.com, remember the Founders Inclusive Package. Dale, thank you so much for your story and updates on the Grande Dunes Performance Center and the resort course at the Grande Dunes. You mind sticking around so we can talk a little more Myrtle Beach golf and do teed off?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Planning an unforgettable Myrtle Beach golf getaway has never been easier with mbgolf.com. At mbgolf.com, we give you the power of choice in pairing world-class golf with premium options from golf course villas to oceanfront condominiums, brought to you by Condo World, the leaders in Myrtle Beach luxury travel. Make your next stay and play journey to the golf capital of the world the experience of a lifetime. It's all just a call or a click away.
The Back Nine.
Okay, the back nine. We're in December now, and it is a little cold, but all year we have had such wonderful golf weather, Dale. I mean, spring, summer, and fall. It has just been perfect to play golf, and the rounds have shown it. We booked more rounds on MB Golf than we have in 15 years, and we are pacing ahead for 2024. So that means for you spring bookers, the time to book is not January and February, it's right now. The tee sheets are filling up, and it's dynamically priced. So as the Grande Dunes fills up, the Grande Dunes price is going to get higher, and that goes for all 75 premium courses we have in Myrtle Beach. So, and we looked at the almanac, and the weather looks good again for the spring. So, hoping that holds true. A good winter makes good for great conditions in the spring. I know that these turf management crews across the beach are praying for a mildish winter so that they can get their overseeding schedules right, and the courses can be as pure as they were this year. And they're expecting that. So, and the rounds are booking in preparation for that. So, I'm sure at the Grande Dunes, they're seeing the same thing with their rounds filling up and their tee sheets filling up. So guys, make sure you go to mbgolf.com, and you can do online chat. You can do some online shopping yourself, or you can pick up the phone and call Aaron and call his team of golf specialists. They can help put together the dream package for you that's going to fit in your budget, and they know the ins and outs of these courses. So please make sure that you go to mbgolf.com to start searching for your next golf trip to Myrtle Beach. mbgolf.com also has you covered on where to stay. Our accommodation of the episode is actually right outside our window here. It's the beautiful Crescent Shores. So the Crescent Shores has 2, 3, 4-bedroom, 3-bath, and 4-bedroom, 4-bath condos. And at MB Golf and Condo World, we have exclusive access to 75 of the most premium ones in that building. So whether you have a group of 4 or a group of 44, we have got you covered. Crescent Shores is one of the most sought after properties for golf packagers, and we've got you covered. It's got fully equipped kitchens, huge, spacious balconies, private balconies, great floor plans, and a lot of rooms that have mini beds. So we can sleep up to 14 people in a condo. So definitely ask about the Crescent Shores when you're planning your golf package on mbgolf.com. All right, Dale, last but certainly not least, teed off. So this is the part of the show, we close the show with a story or a detail or something about the game of golf that just grinds your gears. And since this is your first time giving a teed off, I'll go first.
Okay, perfect.
Teed off, this is actually about tees. My teed off, I call it the driving range tee safety radius.
Oh, okay.
So it's very scientific. I like hitting the driving range a lot, and plenty of other people do too. And when I get up to driver, the tee doesn't always stay in the ground after you hit. So you hit driver, and then you look briefly for your tee, and then you go get it. I understand not putting a new tee in the ground every time. But if the tee launches forward more than 4 or 5 yards ahead of you, and you got a busy driving range, I mean, going back to the golf rollback, most of the people in that driving range are the ones that aren't going to be affected by the rollback, which means they don't know where the ball's going, which means you are in a danger zone. And what tees me off are the people that go out there looking for their tee like they're looking for shark's teeth on the beach. And they wander 10, 12 yards ahead of the line to hit. Well, especially if they're in front of me. I either am hitting a poor shot because all I'm thinking about is them and my peripheral vision, or I'm waiting for them to return. A golf tee is not worth getting hit in the head or getting taken out. So it tees me off. Just maintain the driving range safety radius. And if you don't know how big that radius is, you're the problem.
So those people that walk out in front of the range tee like that, I always say, man, they're tired of living.
Yeah. I mean, I get picking up your tees, and finding them. You don't want, leaving tees all over the place isn't cool either. But geez, man, just grab another one out of your pocket if it's gone.
Yeah.
So that's my teed off. So Dale, what's your teed off?
Man, I think I've got 3 now that we've spoken just a little bit. So real quick, I'm a little bit teed off for the USGA. I mean, I can't lie. Like, I'm not excited about the ball going shorter for me in 2030. Like, I'm not excited about that at all. Well,
I think you're speaking for a heck of a lot of people.
So that would be one. I'm not excited about that at all. I kind of like having fun, hitting it long, getting on par 5s and 2, making birdies. It's like kind of fun.
Yep.
So, a little bit teed off about that.
Yeah, certainly.
I just thought of one. So, I work an 8-hour day, whatever. It's 6:30 in the evening in the summertime, and I'm going to go get my bag, go to the other side of the driving range, try and practice a little bit, have a little bit of me time. Yeah. Maybe have my headphones in, maybe not. I'm so far away from everybody else. There's no way they can bother me. And here they come.
Clients?
You name it.
Yeah.
Like, hey, what's going on? What are you doing? Why do you have all your stuff out here? What are you filming your swing?
Oh man.
And then you try to be nice, and It's like, dude, like, I'm trying to get a little practice time in. Like,
I'm off the clock.
For now, I'm off. I'd be glad to talk to you tomorrow, like anytime. Yeah. But like, if you sit here and keep asking me questions, I'm not going to be able to practice.
It's tough. It's a tough predicament.
It is a tough predicament.
Because you can't just ignore them.
You can't.
Yeah.
So
that would tee me off.
It's a little bit. It's a little bit. So that's kind of one that kind of comes up.
Irks you a little bit.
A little bit. Yeah. So
that's 2.
The other one is not so much teeing me off, but, we've had golfers that are, don't have an idea of what real is or what they're capable of.
Okay. So this is a potential teeing someone else off.
This is a little bit. So we've had golfers that come in and, they're hitting their driver 170 yards and maybe they're old, maybe they're out of shape. Maybe they've had 6 surgeries on their hip. And they've got a driver that's 15 years old and they can't figure out why they can't hit it more than 170 yards. And I've taken them through the TPI assessment. Their body doesn't work very well. Technique might not be very well. And they're like, man, my buddies are hitting it like 260. I just want to hit it 260. And you have to kind of sit them down a little bit.
You got to be the bad guy.
You got to be bad guy a little bit and say, look, like, I want to help and we're going to help. And there's going to be some things we're going to do. But 260 for you, that ain't happening.
That's the moon.
That's the moon.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, you're not 25 anymore. Like, I used to do this and okay, let's see what we can do today.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to sit those kinds of people down and they probably get teed off because I put a little honesty in their coffee.
Yeah. So the reality check is what tees them off at times.
It might. Yeah. Well, but you got to be honest with them.
Yeah. You're not a magic man.
I've been called the Magic Man before, the magician actually.
There you go.
Like 170 to 260, that's a long way.
Well, you certainly helped me in my game, but I don't have a lot of the limitations that you've mentioned there. So, thankfully, but I will one day. And I'm going to have to be realistic, and we'll see if I am or not. But yeah, I can see how playing the bad guy, unfortunately, it's just the rules of the game, though. You got to do it, because if you give empty promises, they're really going to be teed off at the end of the day. Because they're going to say, well, what have I done? I've spent all these resources on you, and you've promised me that I'm going to get to 260 and all this, and I've spent all this money on fittings, and I'm still at 170. But that's not you.
Some people will sell them that load of junk, but I won't,
Not Dale at the Golf Performance Center at the Grande Dunes, so that's good. Well, those are great teed offs, so the whole offering of them, and it's been a great episode. Dale.Ketola, the Director of Instruction and Club Fitting at the Grande Dunes Performance Center. Remember to go to mbgolf.com for everything Grande Dunes and Founders Group courses. Thank you guys for listening. Have a happy holidays, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to Teed Off. Visit mbgolf.com and follow us on Instagram at Teed Off Podcast for the latest episodes and news.